I'm Crystal Pirtle Tyler. I use she, her pronouns. My formal training is as a reproductive and perinatal epidemiologist. And in short, it means that in my formal training, I studied Black babies and Black mothers and how to keep us healthy. And I specifically focused on the impacts of racism and policies and systems and how it has caused negative health outcomes for Black babies and moms. I was like in kindergarten or first grade, and people would say, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And I'd say, "I want to save Black babies." I think my parents were the ones who kind of said, whatever it is, go as far as you possibly can. And I'd say at the point I'm at right now, it's my peers who are really my village. Those are the people, the women who I call on when I'm having a bad day. We lift each other up and really kind of wrap our arms around each other. And in terms of accountability, because I think that's a big part of a village, I would say that's my 10-year-old daughter. She's the one who always keeps it real with me. My Black birth story, it actually started maybe during my dissertation process when I really started to understand the potential outcomes if I were to give birth and have children. And so I was working at the Centers for Disease Control at the time in the Division of Reproductive Health when I got pregnant. And I will say that I made the decisions that I made, the birthing decisions that I made, mostly out of fear. I was scared that if I went to a traditional OBGYN, if I got an epidural, that would slide me down this path of then I'm gonna have a C-section, then I'm gonna have a complication, then I'm gonna die. I'm a Black woman, good in that really good age range for being pregnant, highly educated. Not only do I understand pregnancy, I have a PhD in this, and I'm trying to guard against death during this perfectly natural experience of having a baby. That's outrageous. But that was what I did. And so I chose a midwife in Atlanta who would support those decisions of a completely unmedicated birth. I birthed in a hospital in Atlanta, and it was a water birth. And it was intense, it was long. My son came out, he was facing the wrong way. Basically, when babies come out, they're supposed to come out with their head down, facing back. And the issue with babies being OP is that they don't properly push against the cervix, and so you don't properly dilate. I'd been laboring for 20 hours, 21 hours, unmedicated in the water. I wasn't properly dilating. So at about 6 centimeters, the midwife said, "You know what, forget this, I'll just do it manually." So she manually dilated me from 6 to 10. And it wasn't any more painful than the labor, but I was told by my doula who was there, she was like, "People don't usually do that. You probably should have had a C-section. That could have gone really wrong, but cheers, it went well and the baby's here, so it was all good." Second birth, we moved to Michigan, and Michigan didn't allow water births, and there were a number of legal cases happening in the state where midwives were not practicing out of hospital settings. You couldn't really birth in a birth center, and it was very hard to find someone who would respect my birth wishes. And so I did a lot of Googling, and I found a midwife, I'm not gonna say her name, a Black woman, begged her, "Please, please, please take me as a patient. Please, please deliver me. I'll be so easy, I've done this before. You basically don't have to do anything, it'll be fine." And she agreed. That second experience was so wonderful. I expected to labor for 20 hours because I did the first time. And I remember being in the house laboring, and I was in the shower, and my husband came in and he goes, "I think maybe we should go to the hospital." This was maybe like 7, 8 hours in. And I said, no, it's gonna be a long time. We got time. He was like, "I think we should go." So we got to the hospital and they said, "Okay, how long have you been laboring?" "I don't know, 7, 8 hours. And they checked me and they said, "You are 8 centimeters dilated. We need to go. She's gonna deliver now." So the midwife showed up in 30 minutes later. I'm in the tub at the hospital laboring, and she says, you can't push in the water. You're gonna have to get out of the water. And my whale-sized 9.5-month pregnant self was like, "I'm not getting out of this tub." She lets the water out of the tub. She's like, "You need to get out of the tub. There's no water in the tub." And I said, "I'm not getting out." So my husband had to lift me up out of the tub, lay me on the bed, and in a couple pushes, my daughter was out. That one was a better experience, I'd say. What gives me hope is watching everybody in the field out loud and proudly shout what needs to happen. And I think because we're not moving under the radar, because this work is happening loudly and people who you never would have thought are speaking about Black maternal health, I think that visibility and the narrative around it is really what gives me hope. I have hope about the future because I see who's coming behind me, and I know that they are not gonna take any mess, and they're gonna push until things are the way they need to be. The things that we're striving for are achievable, and it's important to know that. On the journey, you get tired and you get exhausted and you get cranky, and you also have times of joy and excitement, and then you have political wins and political losses. You have losses of life and life coming in, and just realize that this is all part of the journey. It's all part of the journey. It's time for new narratives of hope that heal. It's time for us to be seen. It's time for our stories to be heard. Join us. Shine a light on Black birth stories of hope.